So this study just kind of fell into my lap. I was looking into some other things, and then God would have me to make this one. So here we are. First, I want to start with a little prayer. Father, I just thank you for the information, the truth, the knowledge that was given to me today. Father, I just pray that the message that I received, that I do it justice for you, Father, that I share it in the way that you'd have me to, that those that are listening would receive the message and take it and bud forth good fruit. In your precious Son's name I pray. Okay, so where did our demise begin? Let's figure that out. From our day of birth into this world, as soon as we were born. So, good question. Are you not alive in the womb? Isn't that one of the biggest fights because of abortion? Like, isn't that one of the biggest things that they fight about during abortion? One says the baby is alive as soon as the flicker or heartbeat, and the other one opposes. So then, if you're alive at that flicker, then why do we... So then, we're alive 9 months prior to being born, because if we're alive at the flicker, that's the heartbeat, 9 months prior to being born. So then, are we not alive at conception? And what is conception? Conception is the act of conceiving, the first formation of the embryo or fetus of an animal. So, the flicker. So then, why on paper is our birthday the day we celebrate our life? If we're technically alive at conception, why is our birthday, the day that we're born into this world, why is that the day we celebrate? It's really a good question, something to think about. So then goes the great debate of nature versus nurture. Is our behavior inherited or acquired? So nature, what does it mean? In 1828 it meant, in a general sense, whatever is made or produced, a word that comprehends all the works of God. So nature, God, His creation. Nature now, currently, if you Google it, means the phenomenon of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscape, and other features and products of the earth, as opposed to humans or human creations. I don't know about you guys, but that literally just felt like I was talking in a circle. Nurture, in 1828, meant that which nourishes, or food, diet. Also, that which promotes growth, education, and instruction. Nurture now means care for and encourage the growth or development of. So, do we have inherited behavior that came from the Father? Or do we carry acquired behavior that we learned from men? We have both. The problem is realizing that we have acquired behavior that must be changed. We'll talk about that. So, traditions are passed down from generation to generation. Mark 7:8, for laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do. So the traditions of men, tradition, that which is handed down from age to age by oral communication. The Jews pay great regard to the tradition in matters of religion, as do the Romanists. Protestants reject the authority of tradition in sacred things, and rely only on the written word. Traditions may be good or bad, true or false, but many of the traditions that we've learned in our world today are just things that we've learned since birth because it was passed down from generation to generation, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true and right. Tradition's current definition is the transmission of customs or beliefs from generation to generation, or the fact of being passed on in this way. So Matthew 15:3, why do ye also transgress the commandments of God by your traditions? So transgress in 1828 meant to offend by violating a law, to sin. So, if we reread that, why do you sin against the commandments of God with your traditions? So, if we're not following the commandments of God, then we are following the commandments of men. We must learn that there is a fine line between that, and we have to switch and move back over to the commandments of God. Matthew 15:8. The people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Nigh means near, at a small distance in place or time, or in the course of events. So the people draw near to me, to God. So the people draw near to God with their mouths, and speak great things about him, but their hearts are far from him. We don't want that. The traditions of men would be that we continue to go to church, and we continue to live our lives, and continue to go and go and go, and we speak great things, and we say good stuff, but what does our heart really say? And that is what God is looking at. He's looking at the inside. Cleanse the inside of the cup first. Don't broaden your collars and make phylacteries of yourself. Don't make yourself boastful and, boasting about your religion on the street corners. Don't do that. Because, yeah, you look good for men, but God knows your heart. So how did we get so lost? What's indoctrination? Indoctrination, by their very definition, is the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. A little thing that they have is, I would never subject my children to religious indoctrination. It also means teaching or instruction. Indoctrination in 1828 meant instruction in the rudiments and principles of science, of any science or information. So instead of subjecting their children to religious indoctrination, they subject them to lies and fallacies that feed a corrupt agenda to keep us brainwashed and docile. So instead of doing that, let's do this, huh? Seems like a good plan, huh? Just a little something here. Even in the grade schools, remember, you're supposed to obey the state, not your parents. That's why kids go to school, is to get them away from their parents. It's broken up the family unit. That's why both parents have to work nowadays to maintain the household, is so that the kids have to go to school. Because back in the day, parents, the mother stayed home and taught the children what they needed to know about God and all the other things they needed to know about life. And now, here we are, letting the state do everything for it. Here you go. I love life. Public education is stinky. That Obama's crazy. Go to the public education brainwash system. Come out, I hate life. I love Obama. Public education has all the answers. And here you go, you have the teacher. Don't think outside the box here. You see, everyone must think the same. The answers are already given to you. Don't question anything. Just, they already have all the answers for you. You don't need to know anything else. So along the way, education has changed. In 1828, it meant the bringing up as of a child, instruction, formation of manners. Education comprehends all the series of instruction and discipline which is intended to enlighten the understanding, correct the temper, and form the manners and habits of youth, and fit them for usefulness in their future stations. To give children a good education in manners, arts, and science is important. To give them a religious education is indispensable. And an immense responsibility rests on parents and guardians who neglect these duties. So think about that. In 1828, parents had the opportunity to teach religious education because it was indispensable. It must be taught. But instead, we have, if you think about it now, how many parents and guardians neglect these duties, and why? Well, because we've been indoctrinated that it's wrong, one, to teach kids about religion and God and Jesus, and two, they don't have time. They're stuck in the workplace. They don't have time to come home and teach them anything. They barely have time to, come home and make dinner for themselves. It's a different world we live in. Everything's changed. Google's modern-day definition of education is the process of receiving or giving systematic instruction, especially at a school or university. A new system of public education. Systematical. It means pertaining to a system, consisting in system, method. I can't even say it, I'm sorry. Formed with regular connection and adaptation or subordination of parts to each other and to the design of the whole. As a systematic arrangement of plants or animals in systematic course of study, proceeding according to system or regular method, so methodology, methodological, as a systemic writer. Google's definition of systematic is done or acting in accordance to a fixed plan or system. Methodological, a systematic search of the whole city. So education by today's definition means to receive planned or fixed instruction for adaptation or subordination of each other to a school or institution used to educate children. So what is a school? In 1828 is any place of improvement or learning. The world is an excellent school to the wise men, but a school of vice to fools. So, wise. Wise means properly having knowledge, hence having the power of discerning and judging correctly, or discriminating between what is true and what is false, between what is fit and what is proper, or what is improper. Vice is properly a spot or defect, a fault, a blemish. So, the world that we live in is an excellent school to wise men, to men that have the knowledge, the truth. It's an excellent school for those because they're able to discern and judge correctly between what is right and wrong, what is true and false, what is proper and improper. But it is a vice, a spot or defect, a fault, a blemish to fools who are unable to see this. So how do they do this? 2 Peter 2. But there were false prophets among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. Damnable means that may be damned or condemned, deserving damnation, worthy of eternal punishment. More generally, that which subject or renders liable to damnation. Heresy, in law, is an offense against Christianity, consisting in a denial of some of its essential doctrines, publicly avowed and obstinately maintained. So, let's read that again. There were false prophets or false teachers among the people. And even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, so deserving of eternal punishment, lies, or consisting of denial in some essential doctrines, the Lord that, and even denying the Lord that brought them, so denying God, denying Him completely, will bring about themselves swift destruction. Because they deny Him, it will bring them destruction. Because they deny essential doctrines against Christianity, will bring about swift destruction. Because they speak condemnations or punishments, they will receive eternal punishment because they deny the Lord. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of the truth shall be evil spoken of. So pernicious is destructive, tending to injure or destroy. Evil examples are pernicious to morals, intemperance in a pernicious vice. So, and many shall follow their destructive ways, because of whom the way of truth will be blasphemed. So, by reason of whom the way of the truth shall be evil spoken of is because of whom the way of truth will be blasphemed. So many will follow their destructive ways, because of whom the way the truth will be blasphemed. So blaspheme is to speak evil of, to utter abuse or calumny against, to speak reproachfully of. So to speak evil of. So the truth will be spoken evil of. So they'll be lying to you. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. So what is feign? Feign means fictitious, fictum, fictitious, feign. Feign equals false or fiction. So, and through covetousness shall they with fiction or false words make merchandise of you. And what is merchandise? To trade, to carry, or commerce. So, through covetousness shall they with false words make commerce of you. What is commerce? To traffic, to carry on trade. Well, what is traffic? To trade, commerce, either by barter or buying and selling. So hold up. And through covetousness they with false words shall make commerce, which is either buying, selling, or bartering. So they shall make merchandise, they shall sell and buy you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. So their judgment is soon to come. Their damnation is not sleeping, it's coming. And they've created this world around us. They've turned us into merchandise. They buy and sell and trade us, and we have no idea that they're doing it because they're so good at being false teachers. So Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. Knowledge is a clear and certain perception of that which exists, or of truth and fact, the perception of the connection and agreement or disagreement and repugnancy of our ideas. So wisdom. What is wisdom? The right or use of or exercise of knowledge. So if knowledge is truth, the execution or exercise of truth is then known as wisdom. So the application of knowledge, the application of truth, is wisdom. So what is a priest? A priest is a chief, one that presides, prone before and sto, to stand, or sisto. Preside, it means to sit. So people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge or truth, because you have rejected the knowledge, I will reject you. This is God speaking to us. You will not preside or sit with me. Since you have forgotten the law of God, I will forget you and your offspring. So people are destroyed for a lack of truth. Because you have rejected truth, you will be rejected. You will not preside with him. Since you have forgotten the law of God, he will forget you and your offspring. So I like this photo because it's a physical representation of a very deep spiritual conversation that needs to be had with the true Father. So look inside yourself. You are more than what you have become. Remember who you are. We've forgotten who we are because we've forgotten conception. We've been brainwashed since birth and forgotten who we truly are. We are a creation. We are an amazing creation. And it says, look inside yourself. So look within. Understand that you are a creation. You are the church. Often things like this can be easily missed if we are spiritually blinded, which we are, because we've been lied to so long. We've been indoctrinated for so long. We've been told the same things over and over and over again that we don't know who we are. And that's the devil's main goal, is to make us forget who we are and in turn forget our purpose and not realize that we actually are here to do something really important. The truth has been in plain sight all along the way. Hitler was famed for saying, if you tell a lie long enough, loud enough, and often enough, the people will believe it. Joseph Gibbous, I can't really read his last name, but if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. Think about it. If they've lied to us since we were born, that's all the truth that we know. But if you seek the truth from the Father, He will give you the truth, the true knowledge. So FDR said, repetition does not transform a lie into truth. I'm assuming this was him basically battling against what Hitler had to say. But if you think on it for a moment, you'll realize that repetition does. I appreciate you guys for taking the time. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you like the content, please like and subscribe, and I appreciate you for being here. God bless you all.